wanted to ask you about NBA betting in general. A lot of people in the past have said it's kind of like a fool's errand to bet game to game, but want to ask you specifically, what do you see as far as like value betting in the modern NBA now in the 2020s, trying to make wise bets when looking at the NBA?
I would say, I love just picking games. You know what I mean? Like I'm a big money line guy, so sometimes,
Cool.
picking spreads and seeing how much a team's going to win by, unless it's a team with a very specific sort of characteristic. I usually try to stay away from that. I don't necessarily call myself like a straight up sports bettor. I'm a basketball fan first, and I watch the game. So if I know the Heat are playing against a team with not a whole lot of experience, I know there's going to be some unders over there. I know they're going to play at a slow pace. I know Jimmy Butler's going to go to the free throw line a zillion times, right? Like there's some great props over there. I'm a big time Knicks fan. I watch more Knicks basketball than a regular human probably should watch. But what I do know for the past several months is that Emmanuel Quickly has been one of the best rebounding guards in the NBA. So when you talk about getting some nice props over there, sometimes you can find some of those players that either six men or guys off the bench that have a stat that not a lot of people have caught up to. I think everybody kind of caught up to the Josh Hart rebounding numbers as well. You know what I mean? He's one of the great rebounding guards. I love getting little prop bets on those type of situations. In addition to that, I just always tell people when it comes to the NBA, especially since there's so much games, and a lot of times there's load management, and a lot of times we got injury reports that don't come out until 30 minutes before tip off, and we do a show where I'm taping at 10 a.m. in the morning, and a lot of times I'm not going to know if Giannis or Kyrie's going to play until 30 minutes before the game. So I tell people, with caution, please, if this person is playing, then go that way. I did that yesterday. I said, listen, if Giannis isn't playing, give me the Kings at home. I think it's going to be a good one. And then Giannis played, and he had a monster game, and he was the exact reason why that they won that game. I would just say, just know your basketball, man. Like, don't necessarily be somebody who just bets just for the sake of compulsive betting. I try to bet with my heart, and just being a fan of the NBA for a long time, and just a fan of players, and just seeing people that have favorable matchups in certain situations. I know the Rockets and the Celtics were like a 12-point cover last night or something like that. And I said, that's just way too many points. And I'm a big believer in Jalen Green. And I think towards the end of the season, when there's about like 12 or 15 games left in the season, he got really nothing to play for. Guys are going for their numbers. And Jalen Green's, he reminds me of a guy that's going to say, hey, even though we've only got 15 wins this year, I got to show that I'm the truth. I'm a bucket. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes,
Sure.
even though they're going up against the Boston Celtics, a team that should beat them, which they didn't yesterday, they're either going to make it close, or Jalen Green's going to get his, or a player of a similar ilk is going to get his. I just think, just look at the game, look at the schedules. The NBA is just kind of in three parts. So I try to avoid, trade deadline, all-star break, things where just there's not a whole lot of certainty. But you got a stretch between the beginning of the season to Christmas that you can have a lot of fun with. You got that stretch between Christmas to the All-Star break, which you can, find some sleepers and people that the NBA haven't really caught up to. And then by now, you can probably have a nice stretch run where you know who players are at this point, right? Like you kind of know when you're going to get some rebounds from a certain power forward. You're going to get a nice 3-point prop from somebody who's been shooting the ball recently, or you're going to get a nice assist prop from a player who's been a great scorer and knows that they're going to start keying in on this person, or they just traded for a shooter, or they just or any of those things that you just kind of see when it comes to either young players on the come up or players that haven't necessarily broke out in the national limelight yet. If you're going to do a same game parlay, that's the only time I really go with stars, because there's not a whole lot of value. Like sometimes I like to start it off with like, okay, Giannis points, rebounds, he's getting me at least 40 something, right? Like that's going to be 30 points, 12 rebounds on somebody. That's a nice start to a nice leg. And then sometimes I'll find some nice 3-point props I like, some assist props I like, some rebound props I like for some good value, and a player that's usually on a bench or hasn't really caught up to the rest of the NBA yet.